Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. Today, the piece I'll be working on is called Dreamer by Day. To be honest, when I first started this piece, I really didn't know what I was doing. I knew I wanted to paint an abstract girl and her face, and I knew her eyes would be closed, but I don't really have a clear vision, which is why it took a little longer than I expected to complete it. I must say in the beginning, it looked pretty promising. I was pretty happy. But as I worked a little bit more on it, I lost sight of what I was doing and it became a little blob. These are things that probably normally artists won't talk about. But I just want to share with you so you know that not every single piece comes out really pretty at first try. It really takes practice and sometimes you just completely give up on it. But to be honest, at this stage, I would say this girl looks pretty cute and I was still pretty happy with it. For this particular style of painting, I've been trying something else a little different, using other color palettes that I usually won't use for shadows and light rather than just different shades of the same color. Like for example, some pale pinks and like some pale lilacs. I think it really creates more dimension, depth, and makes the painting just so much more interesting. I always enjoy painting faces. I'm not sure why, but animals are also something else I like to paint, but these characters are things I have taken a liking to. I often paint their eyes closed because I feel like a person's expression can be so expressive even with their eyes closed, and it's just something I've adapted to over the years. So here you go, you can see that I'm adding more darker layers after adding in the light layers. Hands is a thing I don't love painting. I don't think I've mastered it just yet, but I'm working on it. But you can see from this piece, I've deliberately decided just to paint one hand so I don't have to worry about the second one. Been really like painting of lilacs and purple lately, so you'll find this particular shade in a lot of my artwork of late. Here I'm going to start on the hair because I've kind of given up on the face and it's looking super blotchy and I have no idea what I'm doing. So when things like that happens, I usually like to take a break from that part of the piece and just work on something new to take my mind off of it. To be honest, it looks pretty horrendous, but I still feel like there might be a chance I'll be able to save it. I really enjoy painting hair, so that was supposed to be a saving grace. As you can see, I'm trying to rescue this piece right now by adding in a little bit of darkness. To be honest, I still think it looked pretty good maybe an hour before this all happened. But we'll see. Sometimes pieces have a way of surprising you. So to get the beigey color, I usually use beige, but I've been adding a little bit of red and also white to get a different tint. You can see I'm still struggling quite a bit with this piece, but I need to keep telling myself that I'll get over this. This is just the part of the painting when it looks ugly and it happens, and it's a necessary stage for every single piece I have. You can see the face is still coming out, but little bit more blotchy than I would like. So I'm trying to add on other colors to see if it will help with the piece, like some sky blue. I think just like a public speaker where you record yourself on video and then you watch yourself again speaking and try to give yourself feedback, and it's so painful. It's the same thing when I watch my art time lapse. When I'm watching myself paint, it's so painful, and looking at it, I'm just like, why did I do that? Why did I? But you know what, like, now that I'm looking back, like, I know I'm supposed to look at the bigger picture, that this is all part of the process, and like, I'm still learning, and not every single piece is going to be perfect, and I need to let myself be comfortable with that. I'm currently working on a 7-inch by 7-inch art block. I prefer working on smaller art blocks because I tend to finish these projects a little bit faster, and I feel like I have more control of the painting. Unfortunately, when I make things into print, most people really want larger size prints. I think the hand turned out pretty well in this one. I didn't have to repaint the hand again and again. Her hair I'm still struggling with, but I know that I'm going to add on little strands later on and make it look nice. Now, I now have a vision that I want more greenery on this piece, so I'm going to paint the background green, but not just one color of green. I'm going to add on different shades. Like, for example, this one has 3 different shades of green I'm adding. I usually use a big brush to paint the big blocks, and then I use a smaller brush to kind of edge into the details so that it doesn't blotch over. Again, doesn't have to be super neat at this point, just kind of have to fill in the block, because I know that I'm going to have to layer on other things on top, including the grass. So I know that I shouldn't be frustrated with how it looks at this point. Here I am just working on the hair again while the green is drying up so I can add on a second layer. At this point, I think it's turning out a little bit better than I expect. As you can see, I have a little paint dish on the side. It's actually a soy sauce dish I picked up at a Chinese grocery store. It's worked out well for me. So as you can see, the second layer I'm adding on looks way more opaque, and it looks pretty nice. I think I like that green. If anything, I usually go a little bit darker because I know that for gouache it's going to dry a little bit lighter. And then as I'm layering on the different shreds of grass, you're not even going to notice the dark green on the background, to be honest. Here I am, still filling in the face. I still have an idea that she's a dreamer, but like a happy dreamer. One of the things I need to be patient with when I'm painting gouache is that I need to do it layer by layer. I need to wait for the bottom layer to dry before adding on the next layer. And that takes a little bit of patience rather than just keep painting at it. Adding the little white highlights is one of my favorite parts. And I'm adding a layer of shine, kind of like a halo around midpoint between the top of the head and the forehead. So it gives the hair a little bit more dimension, a little bit more 3D-ness to it. Here I'm going to start painting in the grass. I start by even adding it a little bit, even more darkness to the green background. Slowing it down, you can see it actually takes quite a bit of time, but somehow for our time lapse, well, not somehow, not surprisingly, makes it look so easy and so fast, but it actually takes quite a while. For the green, I decided to add a little bit of violet into the dark green to make it a little bit darker, and so that it will blend a little bit better with the main character in the middle that is also purple theme or violet theme. The grass is turning out quite nicely, and ta-da, done. No, just kidding. Now I'm going to add on another layer of lighter green, and I think it looks not bad now, but as I layer more and more different types of green on, the piece just will look so much better. And that's one of the tips I have for other artists. Layering on colors, being patient with yourself really makes a difference. So here I'm adding a little bit of kind of highlights on the grass, like where the sun's shining off of it and there's a glare of light. So obviously this particular dreamer is dreaming in daytime, but looks so much better. It makes such a difference just adding on those little highlights and different layers of green. And it's not necessarily just adding white to green, but maybe like a turquoise or like another shade. Just makes the painting so much interesting, so much more interesting. So here I am now adding little flowers that she will be lying on. I feel that the flowers are still very matte, so afterwards I'm going to add another layer to the flowers, another shade, debating if it will be darker or lighter. These blades of grass are turning out quite nice, but I think adding a little bit of flowers on the top really makes a difference. You can see this camera's not really focusing, but you can see a little bit of lighter colors being added to the flowers, and you'll notice a significant difference later on. There you go. Now gonna add more highlights, that little halo to create a glare and dimension to her hair. Guys, if you enjoyed these types of videos and you enjoy my dialogue for my art time lapses, please consider liking, subscribing, or adding a comment. It really does help with the channel. So I'm just about finished with this piece. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey as I go for discovery and trying to figure out what I am painting. Things I would suggest for the future is for myself is probably to plan ahead, because I feel like I spent so much time on this painting that would have been a lot faster if I had just planned further ahead and knew what I was doing. But either way, I think journey before destination, it still worked out quite well. So that's something that I should still be very proud of. I'm now going to let you guys enjoy the rest of the art time lapse, and I will see and talk to you in the next video. But I think I'm almost wrapped up in this piece and will show the final piece shortly.